Kyiv, Ukraine, September 11th, 2025. The heart of Ukraine's capital fell silent on Thursday as two presidents, Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky and Finland's Alexander Stubb, walked side by side to honour soldiers who gave their lives in defence of freedom. At the Wall of Remembrance, the solemn ceremony was not just about mourning the past, but also about reinforcing solidarity between nations facing the challenges of war and aggression. The Wall of Remembrance in Kyiv, stretching along Mikhailivska Square, has become one of the country's most sacred sites. It bears the names and faces of Ukrainian soldiers who have fallen since Russia's war against Ukraine began, a reminder of both sacrifice and resilience. For President Zelensky, who has stood countless times in front of this wall, each visit underscores the weight of leadership in a time of conflict. For President Stubb, who only assumed office in early 2024, it was his first state-level tribute in Kyiv, a symbolic gesture of Finland's deepening commitment to Ukraine's struggle. The official footage released by the Ukrainian presidency opens with both leaders approaching the wall together. The visuals are deliberate. A medium shot captures Zelensky and Stubb walking side by side, framed against the somber backdrop of memorial portraits and flowers. The gravity of the moment is clear. No speeches, no fanfare, only silence and reflection. As the leaders walked slowly along the path, the presidential guard entered the square. Dressed in ceremonial uniforms, the soldiers marched in step, carrying fresh flowers to lay beneath the plaques. The sound of boots on cobblestones echoed across the square, adding rhythm to the otherwise hushed atmosphere. The footage cuts to a wide shot of the soldiers kneeling to place bouquets against the wall. Red and yellow blooms stood out against the stone, small but powerful gestures of respect for the thousands whose lives were lost. Behind them, the two presidents paused, heads slightly bowed. A close-up captures both Zelensky and Stubb with solemn expressions. They are statesmen, but here they stand as men confronted with the cost of war. The camera lingers, not on politics, but on grief. For President Volodymyr Zelensky, this was not a routine protocol. It was another reminder of the stakes in a war now stretching into its fourth year. Since Russia's full-scale invasion in February 2022, Zelensky has spoken repeatedly of the need to honour those who sacrificed everything. Zelensky has said before, every name on this wall is not just a soldier, but a life, a family, and a story of courage. We must remember them, and we must carry their fight forward. Those words, though spoken months earlier, seem to echo through Thursday's ceremony. His walk alongside Finland's president carried a deeper layer of symbolism. Ukraine is not alone. Even as Russia continues to target cities with missiles and drones, support from European allies, militarily, economically, and morally, has been essential. For President Alexander Stubb, the visit to Kyiv was a statement in itself. Finland, once a neutral country, abandoned decades of careful balancing to join NATO in 2023 after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The move was historic, and Stubb's presence in Kyiv reinforced why Finland made that choice. Earlier this year, Stubb declared, "Finland stands with Ukraine not only because it is the right thing to do, but because your fight is our fight. The defence of Europe begins here, in Kyiv." His walk past the memorial wall on Thursday served as a powerful extension of those words. As the two presidents stood silently in front of the wall, the scene captured Finland's new role in European security, no longer a cautious observer on Russia's border, but an active partner in shaping the continent's defence posture. The Ukrainian Presidential Guard played a central role in the ceremony. Their march across the square was captured in wide shots, their movements precise and disciplined. These were not just symbolic figures. Many had served or would serve on the front lines. Their presence linked the solemn act of remembrance to the ongoing war just a few hundred kilometres east. When the guards laid flowers at the wall, the gesture underscored a continuity between those who had already given their lives and those who continue to serve. It was a reminder that remembrance is not only about the past, but also about sustaining morale in the present. The footage ends with both presidents standing in silence. The choice to conclude the sequence without spoken words reflects the tone of the day. Silence often speaks louder than speeches. In Kyiv, a city where air raid sirens are still a part of daily life, silence is rare and precious. It is in those moments that loss feels heaviest, but also that resilience feels strongest. This silence was not empty. It was filled with the weight of sacrifice, the acknowledgement of shared struggle, and the promise of continued solidarity. The ceremony was carefully designed to send a message beyond Ukraine's borders. It showed that Kyiv remains not just a battlefield city, but a diplomatic capital where international leaders continue to arrive despite ongoing threats. The presence of President Stubb, only months into his presidency, highlighted that Ukraine's cause is not slipping from Europe's agenda. It also reinforced a key political message for both leaders. For Zelensky, it was proof that Ukraine still commands the attention and loyalty of its allies. For Stubb, it was an opportunity to demonstrate Finland's active participation in European security and its resolve against Russian aggression. The Wall of Remembrance is more than just a memorial. It has become a national symbol of Ukraine's collective memory. Each name etched on its surface reflects not only loss, but resistance. For families, it is a sacred place to mourn. For leaders, it is a site to reaffirm commitments. By bringing the Finnish president to this location, Zelensky ensured that Finland's gesture of solidarity was tied directly to the human cost of the war. This was not just about diplomatic agreements or military aid packages. It was about acknowledging the blood that has already been shed. Ukrainian officials later emphasized the significance of the visit. One advisor to the president noted, "Every foreign leader who comes to Kyiv and stands before this wall strengthens the resolve of our people. It shows that we are not alone and that the world sees our sacrifice." The advisor added that Finland's presence carried particular weight because of its shared history with Russia. Finland knows what it means to face aggression from the east. Their solidarity is born not only of principle, but of experience. For Finland, the parallels are clear. The Winter War of 1939 to 1940 remains etched in national memory, when Finland resisted a Soviet invasion despite overwhelming odds. While circumstances differ, the echoes of history explain why Finland has been among the most vocal in calling for European unity against Russia's war in Ukraine. Stubb himself has previously drawn the connection. He said, "We remember our own history and we know that freedom is never free. That is why we will continue to support Ukraine until victory is achieved." Thursday's ceremony at the Wall of Remembrance in Kyiv was brief but powerful. There were no speeches delivered on site, no press conferences staged in the square. Instead, the message was conveyed through images and gestures. Two presidents standing silently together, united by grief and determination. The ceremony encapsulated the broader reality of Ukraine's war, a struggle measured not only in battles and borders, but in lives lost and alliances forged. For Zelensky, it was another day of leadership marked by remembrance. For Stubb, it was a defining moment of solidarity at the start of his presidency. As the camera pulled back one final time to capture the soldiers of the Presidential Guard marching in unison, the scene closed with a sense of quiet strength. In Kyiv, amid war and uncertainty, the act of remembrance continues to serve as both a tribute to the fallen and a rallying point for the living.